All right. All right. All right. We are here. This is my second live stream. Uh, New to this whole thing, live streaming. It's a little bit different, I guess, than flying in a real plane, especially doing it here in the simulator. But we'll manage. I think it's going to be good. So let's get straight into it. Today we're going to be doing some maneuvers. Of course, we're going to take off. We're going to go through our procedures before we take off. Take off on a proper runway, get our weather. Then we're going to fly out, and we're going to do some slow flight and maybe some stalls, and then we're going to do some traffic pattern work. And all this, again, is for me getting prepared for my check ride and just flying by the numbers to make sure that I'm doing it right. Now, I'm completely visual. I'm not really using like a lot of the instruments. I know a lot of people say when they don't like sim for VFR, but my artificial horizon right here, as you can see, is INOP, which is similar to what I have going on in the real plane that I'm flying. It's hit and miss sometimes with the vacuum system not fully working all the time. But it's all good. So let's get a few things started here. I guess so we can see here what we got going on. And it's a nice warm day out here in Virginia. It's about 73 degrees right now. So that right there was the our mixture. I'm gonna give it some throttle a little bit and then nudge slightly. We don't normally use the primer unless it's really cold outside to prime it, but that's how we start the plane here. We're gonna cut the master on, cut our beacon on. We normally just cut all the lights on. On our plane, the ADS-B comes through some of the lights, the ADS-B out, so we just cut all the lights on all the time, and that's how we do a thing. And we're gonna cut this on a start. There'll be a push start normally, but we're going to both here. Brakes are on and everything. Go up to 1,000 RPMs right here. We are at our 1,000 RPMs. All right, and we can cut our avionics on now. Now the next thing we want to do is listen out for weather. Let's see what we got going on there. Now I'm using the Octavi IFR1 to control my radio. And just so you know, again, I have all honeycomb. I have the Alpha, I have the Bravo, and I have the Charlie rudder pedal. So everything that I'm using here is honeycomb. And I have quite a few things mapped out up here as well. But let's go ahead and get that weather.
Automated weather observation, Hampton Roads Executive. Wind light and variable. Visibility more than 10 miles. Sky clear. Temperature 22. Dew point 11. Altimeter 3018.
3018.
Automated weather observation, Hampton Roads Executive. Wind light and variable. Visibility more than 10 miles. Sky clear. Temperature 22. Dew point 11. Altimeter 3018.
Okay, so wind is light and variable. 3018 altimeter is set, so we can take off from, if it's light and variable, we can pretty much take off from almost any runway. However, we're not going to do that. We're going to go still look at the windsock, see what the windsock is telling us, and then we'll go from there. Let's see what we got, where we're located on the field, because I just had it put me somewhere on the west hangar. All right, so I know where I am. There's no other planes around me. Of course, we're going to check in real life, so we're going to check up here, and we will make our radio call. Hampton Roads traffic radio check. Hopefully somebody's out there that can hear you and give you a nod that you got a radio check. And then I'm gonna let them know where I'm going. Hampton Roads traffic, 7234 Juliet, taxiing from the west ramp to runway 28 for now anyway, because I just want to get a good look at this windsock. Let's see, can I see the windsock from here? Yeah, windsock still says 28, so we're gonna go 28. We're gonna mosey on along over here. Now I have a 49-inch curved screen up here, so I have more screen real estate than what you can see on a stream. So like right now I can see my RPMs, I can see manifold pressure, I can see vacuum pressure. You can't see any of that. You know, I can see my fuel gauges and all of that, but you're not able to see that from where you are. But I will be moving the little hat switch every now and again because I'll need to use it myself while I'm flying just to see outside better. So we're coming up to runway 0220, and I'm going to call that in. I don't see any traffic. Hampton Roads traffic, 7234 Juliet, crossing runway 0220, Hampton Roads traffic. All right, no one's coming, so we can keep it moving. Now, I haven't taken this on live. I forget the name of the program. I have it. I'm a member.
Runway 0220.
That's the iPad in the background. I have the program where I can talk to ATC. I forget the name of it, though. But I do have it on the computer. I have done it. I have, done some flights where I was talking to live folks, ATC-like people. Pretty good flight. I'm going to incorporate stuff like that later on in these live streams. But for right now, just doing some basic maneuvers and things like that, just practicing. Got in a plane last Friday. Today is the 4th, March 4th. I'm sorry, last Saturday. So today is a Wednesday, so it was a few days ago. Man, these rudder pedals are kind of loose up here. I think I need to adjust that in the settings. But I'll get that done. It's much different than a sim. Than a real life. You gotta put some leg pressure on them things. All right, put our parking brake on. And we're gonna go through our run-up checklist, which I have all that set on my iPad, which, I don't know if you can see my hand, there it goes, which is right down here. I have my iPad mounted, kind of like how I would have it in a plane. So I'm able to do things just like that as well. So, all right, let's go through this run-up checklist. Brake is on. We have our fuel on the tank that we want it to be on right now. We are trimmed properly. This is a trim setting here. I don't have that in the actual plane that I fly, but I'm working with this trim setting right here, which we're good to go. Let's get this back. All right. Here you go, so y'all can see a little bit more while we do this run up. No annunciator lights. We're gonna look at these flight controls and then the instrument panel. So first thing, I guess we can go over here, take a look at these flight controls for you. All right, that's going the way that should go, and that's going the way that should go. And let's take a look at the back. Yep, I can see that moving. We're good to go there. And we're using live weather as well today. It's a really nice day out here. We have our mixture at our best mixture setting for right now anyway. Now we have our primer lock. and that's good to go. We're gonna go ahead and spool up to 2,000 RPMs. At this point, I will be holding a handbrake. We don't really have a handbrake in the sim. So we're at our 2,000 RPMs, and now I'm gonna do a mag check. So we're gonna go to the left, minimal drop, go back to both. We're going to the right, minimal drop, go back to both. And now we're gonna do our carb heat. Carb heat's out, minimal drop, which is good to see. We still have our amperage, everything's good, vacuum pressure's looking good. All of our instruments over here is what we're looking at. Now we're gonna go down to idle. And everything is still good. We did lose manifold pressure. Vacuum pressure is down a little bit, but we're gonna go back up to 1,000 RPMs. And we are still looking good. All right, that is our quick run-up check. Now from here, we're gonna make our call and taxi on out. I'm gonna go hold at the whole short line. There's no other traffic coming this way.
Approaching runway 28.
We'll make our call, Hampton Roads traffic, 4293 Juliet, taking off runway 28. And today, though, we're going to do something a little different. I'm going to put in my first notch of flaps, and we're going to go for a soft field. So I'm going to pull back on this yoke for this soft field, and we're just going to keep it moving. We're not going to slow down. We're not going to stop. We're going to taxi all the way out for this soft field. Line ourselves up with the center line here. Here we go. Full throttle. We're gonna let that nose wheel come up. Let that fly early. There we go. We're looking for, we don't want the back to hit. There we go. We're flying. We're gonna hold off. There we go. That ground effect. All right. And we're climbing at 80. Put our first notch of flaps up. We're gonna trim ourselves out for our VY. There we go. And I didn't put my fuel pump on. I got a bad habit of the fuel pump. I gotta make sure that I really hone in on that checklist item, putting that fuel pump on when I'm taking off. Still gonna climb out. We're gonna go to a little practice area that we normally go to out here at my school, and we're just gonna get into some slow flight maneuvers, and then we're gonna come back. We reach 900. We're gonna cross this body of water in a sec, and we're just going up to 2,500 today. That's all. And do some maneuvers. Just hit our 1,000. I'll cut my fuel pump off now. It's a nice enough day. I'm bring back some of this fuel air mixture. Tell you what, trim is very helpful in these climbs. If you're not using it, I would suggest you using it. We're gonna turn out, start heading towards the north, which is where we normally fly at. We should be crossing over those radio towers So we shouldn't have much of an issue with that. We're high enough above them. All right. We hit our 2,000 feet. I think we're going, I said we're going to 2,500, right? Yeah, 2,500. All right, cool. Now let's still keep going towards the north heading. All right. We don't want to head out towards the water. There we go. Still making our climb out. About to hit our 2,500. Just push that nose down. Trim myself up. About 2,000 RPMs here. We're not going to be speeding today because we're actually going to get into some slow flight. That's what we're going to get ourselves into. And for us, we want to get ourselves down to 60 miles an hour. So, but we still got a little ways to go once we get past this water area right here. So let's see. I don't know if you can see it below, but there's the water right there. We want to get past that. And then we'll start, getting into some slow flight. It's a little hazy outside. I feel like I'm holding the yoke a little bit. I'm just trimming myself out a little bit more. We're maintaining altitude for the most part pretty good. Heading's drifting a little bit, just a little bit. But I think we're actually pretty good now. I think we're set up pretty good. Normally, we would do a clearing turn before we started our maneuvers. I'm not going to do a clearing turn today, but I am going to look, searching for any traffic that may be out here. There is no traffic that I can see. And I know that because I'm the only one in this sim right now. So that's how I know there's no traffic. All right, so first thing I want to do is start slowing up. We're already in a white arc, but I'm going to slow up to 1,700 RPMs. Right there. Putting back pressure on the stick to maintain my altitude. And I'm going to give myself all degrees of flaps. All right, and we're going to slow up. There we go. Maintain with speed, with throttle. We don't want to get that fast. Speeding up. We don't want to do that. We are slowing down nice and well. We can slow down even further. Still want to trim myself out for it. And there we go. We are established in slow flight. We have maintained our heading. We maintained our altitude. And we're doing pretty good on speed as well. So that's what I was looking for. This is probably going to be a requirement for me. Just trimming myself out a little bit more because I'm holding a little bit too much back pressure. So I don't want to do that. Just make this thing easy enough on myself. All right. One of the things that my CFI has me do is make a turn. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to make a turn to the west. And those are normally standard rate turns. So I'm going to turn to the west. There we go. We're making a standard rate turn. And notice I'm still doing this without having my artificial horizon, because I'm gonna have to do that anyway. All right, there we go. I overshot a little bit. I don't like that. But that's the deal, essentially. Let's get more on that west heading. Man, that sun is right up in there, isn't it? All right, let's make a turn back to the north. Standard rate turn back to the north. There we go. Standard rate turns are pretty beautiful, ain't they? It's a good skill to have. All right, start rolling out of that. There we go. A little bit off of the mark. A little bit off of the mark, so I'll be doing some more practice on that as well. So let's gain some altitude. Let's go up to 3,000 feet. So we're going to kick in throttle so we can climb. Don't want to get too nose crazy. But all right, we're hitting our 3,000. There we go. Still maintain our slow flight. Probably came out of that a little bit early, but that's fine. We got some controls, plus or minus 100, right? And we're still within our 60.
Down to below in 8.3 miles.
Yep, we're not going to Williamsburg. Let's get back up. I need to work on that for sure. I don't like how I've executed this recovery from climbing. All right. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to make a left turn actually, to the south. Get myself situated here. Get myself stable, because I'm not really stable right now. I done veered off from my heading quite a bit. Get back on this north heading. All right. Establish back at this north heading. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to make a 180, and we're going to go to the south. So for a standard rate turn all the way around to the south. It's a lot going on here. Computer's probably screaming at me. I'm using a MacBook Pro. It's a little bit fast for a standard rate turn, it seems like to me. Came out of it a little too early. There we go. I did lose altitude that I did not want to lose. So let me climb back up. All right, let's maintain this. And now we want to recover from our slow flight. So we're gonna go full throttle, kind of pitch that nose down, first notch of flaps, and we want to look for like 86. Once we establish that 86 speed, we will get the rest of our flaps out. There we go, there we go. But we don't want to climb. And now I can start coming back down to the speed that I want. So I'm going to 2,000 RPMs here. There we go. And we have recovered from our slow flight. Excellent. All right. It's not perfect. It's not perfect. I think I can do some work, use some more work on it, get it a little better, but I'll get there. I don't think it's horrible, but it's also not perfect, so we'll work on it. So now we're gonna head back. It was a little slow flight. I guess next time I'll do some stalls next time. But it's getting real hazy out, and let's go ahead and start our little descent right now. Get back down to altitude and getting ourselves back towards the airport. And let's make sure that we are still 2.8. Runway 28.
Automated weather observation, Hampton Roads Executive. Wind light and variable. Visibility more than 10 miles. No significant cloud. Temperature 21. Dew point 11. Altimeter 3018.
Okay. All the settings are still the same. Altimeter is still the same, 3018. Everything is still looking the same, so I think we're good there. Let's get back on course. We're gonna get to about 2,000 feet, stop our descent until we see the airport in view, which I cannot see right now. The haze. I'm not sure if it's like this really outside, but the weather report says that, it's clear. I'm not sure if this is the glass and if this is like the glare coming from the sun from the simulator. If that's the case, I don't know. It is getting kind of dark. We're going to maintain this altitude right here. There we go. And pretty much what I'm looking for is the airport. It should be somewhere off of my left. Is that Lake Drummond right there? That might be Lake Drummond that I'm looking at right there. Yep, I think that is Lake Drummond. There's my towers. So yep, my airport should be that patch of lights right there. Not sure if you can really see that. Start making my descent. There we go. I see my two lights flashing. Let's see if I can direct you to the airport, if I can see it on this little tiny screen here. I'm not sure. You guys see right there. There's the airport. So because we're over here, I want to stay away from these towers, get on the other side of these towers, and what I'm going to do is overfly the field from this location. Because if everybody's taking off at runway 28, I don't want to be in their path. Where my tower's at right here. We're good. I think we have that cleared. Man, it is super hazy out here.
Class Charlie in 5.3 miles.
Yep, that's Norfolk. That would be Norfolk, Class Charlie. Your sim, you know, visibility is a little bit different in the sim. All right, we're at 1500. And I'm going to say Hampton Roads traffic, 7234 Juliet, overflying the field. Teardrop for runway 28, Hampton Roads traffic. Yeah, I don't really like using this switch. And with this Mac, you know, don't have the eye tracking stuff. I'm eventually gonna have to invest in a PC eventually, but I'm a Mac person, man. I love my Macintoshes, so my Apples. All right, so we're going to start to establish this turn, and we're gonna make a descent at the same time, so we can get ourselves in alignment for this runway, this downwind. Should be able to see. There we go. We can. So I don't want to make any steeper turns because it's in up. I mean, I could do the 45. I mean, visually, but I'm good. You know, I love my standard rate turns. There's our runway right there. Probably could have came out a little bit further, flew it out a little bit further before I did that. But I think we got perfect timing. Don't want to lose really any more altitude too much. There we go. Hampton Roads traffic, 7234 Juliet, downwind for runway 28. Slow ourselves up. Let's make sure that we're in good to go. Yeah, we're good to go. We're a little bit closer than what I would normally be. So I'm gonna still come out a little bit further. Let's start slowing her down some. And we should be, yeah, we're past the beam the numbers actually. So 1700. First notch of flaps because we are in the white arc. We're gonna hold off. We've lost a lot of altitude, more than I would like, but that's fine. We're gonna hold off to right here. And at this point, we can start our turn in for base. Hampton Roads traffic, 7234 Juliet, base for runway 28. This little hat switch thing. Oh yeah, we're in a long base. It's way longer than I would like. It's partly because it's hard to see. You know, you just don't have the visual perspective that you would like to have. Because you have to, the way you have to maneuver in a sim. Let's see what we got. There we go. I mean, we're good. You can see the airport shining right there. We're gonna hold off on this altitude right here until we turn to our final. And let's see, we got our runway is established over there. We can see those lights flashing. And we're still holding our altitude. Let's go back. Because again, this is not like in a real plane, you know, where I would just turn my head and see it. Okay. So now we're going to turn final. Hampton Roads traffic, 7234 Juliet, turning final for runway 28, Hampton Roads traffic. Turning a little bit early. We're going to put our last notch of flaps in because winds are actually pretty good today. Let's start to drop some altitude. We're kind of high, just a little bit, just a smidgen. Let's keep coming down with that throttle.
500.
Let's get ourselves lined up, the center line, get our aiming point, which we do have.
Short final runway 28.
High, but that's fine. We're good. These speeds down. I'm a little fast, faster than what I want to be. So let's slow it up. Get back on center. Runway's made. Aiming point's good. All right, coming out all the way on the throttle, holding off, holding off, holding off. There we go. All right. And we're gonna get off right here. See these rudder pedals, man. These rudder pedals. I think I gotta tighten them up in the back because these things are so loose. And then I need to set the sensitivity in the program as well. So I'll get that done. All right. Hampton Roads traffic 7234 Juliet clear runway 28. Another bad habit, man. I did not put my fuel pump on again. It's a bad guy. It's a bad boy. Put your fuel pump on. Let's make sure that we are set on our trim. We are, look at that. For the most part, dead on with that landing. All right, Hampton Roads traffic 7234 taxiing from runway 28 to the west ramp. And we're headed back home. We're gonna park this thing. And I'll get some more practice in later. Yep. But even on a sim, you know, there's practice to be done. Always work to be done. And we'll work on it. Making sure that we are definitely good to go for this check ride. And then after that, IFR. I always like to see how well I can just put this right up in here. Let's see. Let's see. Put my brake on. Just a little bit off. Just a little bit off. It's all good. It's all good. All right. Throttle's down to idle. We're going to get these shutdown procedures. We're going to cut our avionics off first. All right. And then we're going to pull out our fuel air mixture. Shuts down our props. Pull that key out. Cut our master off and all our lights and everything. And that was a good flight. You know, pull our key out, do what we got to do on the outside, pack all our stuff up and get up out of here. But yeah, I'll have another flight coming where I'll probably just start from the air instead of all the taxi and all that stuff. Just get straight to it. Probably do some stalls, power on stalls, power off stalls. And then after that, maybe the third flight after that, I'll probably get into short field landings, soft field landings, to really hone in on that. So that'll be all just traffic pattern work. But my next flight will be stalls. We did slow flight today and one traffic pattern takeoff, right? And landing. Cool. we did today, we did a soft field takeoff. So next time it'll be a soft field landing. I didn't do a soft field landing today, but we'll do that next time. But we'll also do our stalls. Again, power on and power off stalls. And that will be that next flight. All right. Until next time, see y'all later.